Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for joining me once again for one of these diary entries. And we are going to be having one of these Magic the Gathering box openings. Now, we are looking in not at the commander decks or a secret lair or anything like that. We're going into the good old collector boosters that we've been waiting for since we've gotten a new set coming out. And we did see the commander decks. Thankfully, there are 4 of them this time, following up on the 5 that we got from Secrets of Strixhaven in the previous one. But we are going to be looking at the actual cards of some Marvel superheroes. Now, we are having this as the second Marvel set that is coming out. Actually, in a way, it's kind of the third, right? Because we have Spider-Man, which came out this past year. And then we had TMNT earlier on in the year, and TMNT is based off of Daredevil, who is in the Marvel. So is this technically the third Marvel set that we got? And just TMNT was kind of an overarching set, and because Hasbro has the rights from it, they're able to make things go along with it there. Whereas with Marvel superheroes and all of the other ones, they don't have necessarily the rights to the certain characters. That would be my guess, but this is going to be the second one where we're going to get one of the Infinity Stones available into it there. So, I guess in that sense, true Marvel set. So we'll have to see where that falls in line with everything and, just kind of see what we might get. Because obviously looking for something cool, everything's going to be basically new except for, a couple of things that we got from the commander decks that are also in this as well. But I want to see if we can get some really cool things there because, we've got some, even though this is Marvel superheroes, there are still villains within it as well. So that is going to be something to be on the lookout for as well. I like my Iron Man. Doctor Strange is my favorite of the superheroes. I like Doom. I'll be interested to see where Thanos goes. And I think the Mind Stone is the Infinity Stone that is available within this. So it's interesting that we've got Mind Stone as a 2-mana mana rock, and then we've got the Mind Stone as a legendary artifact. So a little bit of the crossover there, but we've got our 12 collector packs in this video, seeing what we might be able to get. Let's review over the cards, see what we can get. Now, because it is Marvel superheroes and not just Spider-Man or TMNT, we shouldn't be getting a whole lot of the same heroes. Now, I could see us getting multiples in other Marvel sets, but one of the big things that I see with this is that we are getting more sets. So I wonder what else we are going to be getting from the other sets. But also, we did not get a secret lair based around the Marvel ones. Now, we did get one a while ago with Wolverine, T'Challa the Black Panther, Iron Man, Storm, and Captain America, but there isn't one for this, which is interesting. I'm assuming that one was maybe supposed to tie in with this one a little bit, but we'll have to see. I know that they reprinted the Wolverine card from that secret lair in this with a different art style in the comic book style, the bonus sheet of cards. So maybe we'll end up getting him, but let's see what we've got. First up, we've got Visions of Love, talking about that good old Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and Vision falling in love. 1 in green instant. You may sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. That's pretty decent there. 2 mana, draw 2 is always good. Sacrifice an artifact that, got a lot of tokens. Just be able to get rid of those. That's fine. Crowd of True Believers. And it looks like we've got, different heroes that are going through. Some of them are dressed up in some cosplay there. I can't quite tell who this is, but, this beam here, maybe that's Human Torch. 1 white for a 1/2 human citizen. Tap target creature you control that's attacking alone gets +1/+0 until in a turn you gain 1 life. A little bit of a helper there. Gorilla Oh yeah, look at that. Making puns with the names. 1 and a green for a 2/2 Ape Soldier Hero with reach, and sack this creature to destroy target non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. Activate only as a sorcery. That's interesting. Looks like he's got, weapons in both of his feet as well as both of his hands. I've never heard of this one here. I know that there's some gorilla that's a villain in DC, but I don't know anything about gorillas within Marvel. Death to our enemies. A little bit of Hydra action there. Baron Zemo, I think. Oh my god, this guy's got like almost like a Niv Mizzet face. 2 and a red, enchantment plan. So a new type of enchantment, I guess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you create a tapped treasure token and put a plan counter on this enchantment. When the 4th plan counter is put on this enchantment, you sacrifice it, and when you do, it deals 7 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. So, cast a lot of non-creature spells, ends up getting treasures, but you also get some tokens as well. Not just tokens, treasure tokens. Okay, that's decent there. Like in a spell slinger type of deck, just being able to get it out there, and you're like, oh, I played this, but then I get a treasure token, and you're like, okay, then you can use that for mana. If you just have a lot of cantrips that go through, you're just like, oh, like draw a card, pay one mana that you can get from the treasure token, and then eventually you get 7 of them go through, and you've gone through those 4 cards, and then you're dealing 7 damage. Hey, that's decent. And because it says among 1 or 2 targets, does not say creature or player, you can take out slightly bigger creatures, you can hit players, so it's nice. Rick Jones, Destined Psychic. Don't exactly know who this is, but I do see a Hulk hand there. I do see Captain America's shield in the back, so looks like he's some sort of waiter at a restaurant for superheroes. 1 green for an 0/3 legendary human advisor. Pay 3 and tap to mill 4 cards. You can put a hero or an enchantment from among those into your hand. So good at milling cards, a little bit of on the expensive side to do the effect. Marvel, did you know I once saved Hulk's life? Hulk, go on, you tell it better than I do. Interesting. So it just looks like this random guy that might be a fan of superheroes that gets involved. Oh, a repeat of City Pigeon. So we did see this one in the Spider-Man there, but as you can see, this is in the Commander deck. So are we getting those like 1 Commander card as well in the common, uncommon slot there? Because I'd rather get something that's new rather than something from the Spider-Man set, since we can get that easy enough. Yeah, or it's because I don't remember these being in the Commander decks. Spider-Gwen, Free Spirit, Intrepid Ace. So I guess I'm not really understanding what's going on with these. Oh, I get it now. My apologies. These are going to be from the Jumpstart boosters, because the Jumpstart boosters have the same exact symbol as the Commander deck. So these are ones that you can get within those. So we've already gotten these in Spider-Man, but we've got Intrepid Ace, probably from a Captain Marvel one. 1 red for a 2/1 human pilot with this creature gets +2/+0 as long as it isn't attacking or blocking. So if you've got something that, I don't know, does something based off of its attack power, like dealing damage based off of it, that could be good for it. And it looks like we are going to be getting maybe one from a, what would you call that there? One of the scenes, like these, this is an alternate art for one of the scenes. 1 and a red for an instant, teamwork 4. Now, we don't know what teamwork is, so I can't really say what that does, but you choose 1. If this spell was cast using teamwork, so maybe that's, you gotta have creatures with power 4 or greater, you gotta have 4 creatures, you gotta do something there. So if this spell was cast using teamwork, you choose both instead. Destroy target non-creature artifact. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. Now, see, that one goes well with the Intrepid Ace, because as long as it's not attacking or blocking, it has 4 power. So you cast this, and it deals 4 damage to another creature. So, interesting, but yep, we will want to hold on to these because I would like to make the little art piece with them. And we're also going to get a swamp. Now, who do we have here? It's hard to tell. It looks kind of ghostly, ethereal, but this looks like, I don't know, it's some sort of bridge there, but it doesn't look like a real one. I see like the flashing red and blue lights for all the police. It looks really, really cool. I just don't know what it's referencing. Okay, first rare. Crimson Cowl, Master of Evil. Okay, never heard of them. 2 and a black for a 1/3 legendary human villain. Whoops. Whenever one or more non-token villains you control attack a player, you create a 2/1 black villain creature token with menace. So, unfortunately, you're not doing it for each villain that's attacking, but you do it for each player that you're attacking. So, this one does appear like it's from either the commander decks or more likely from the jumpstart boosters there. But yeah, for each player that you attack, that you can get one there. It's just you create it. They don't attack the player. They don't enter tapped and attacking. But yeah, potentially creating 3 extra guys is nice. So sure, yeah, we'll take that. Okay, Red Ghost, Intangible Genius. Now, this was one from the commander decks. 2, a blue and a red for a 2/3 legendary human scientist villain with ward 2. Can't be blocked, which is really nice, maybe for like ninja decks or whatnot. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, you create a 3/3 red ape villain creature token with haste. So you can be able to get more of these apes out there to be able to pressure on attacks, I guess. Okay. And, well, we talked about how there was a reprint of the Wolverine card just in the comic form, and we were going to see if we got it. These are not repacks. This literally is just me opening up stuff, and we got it. Now that's calling stuff out. It's just like, man, if I had that power, it's just like, yeah, give me the like whatever it is gonna be, the Mind Stone, like one with Thanos on it or something. No, not even that. It's just like, if kind of like how there's the one where it's the singular version, like the super cool, like, I don't know, $30,000-$40,000 one. It's just like, if I could have used it for that, I would have. But like, this is so strange. But yeah, 1, a red and a green, 2/2 legendary mutant berserker hero, unrivaled lethality, double all damage Wolverine would deal. So similar to double strike, except it all happens during the regular combat, not in a first strike combat. So if you do give this double strike, then it doubles the double strike. So, it deals double damage, so that it would deal 4 damage on the first strike damage and 4 on the second one, which is nice. Beginning of each end step, if Wolverine dealt damage to another creature this turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on him, and then you can also pay 1 and a green to regenerate Wolverine, because that's his whole thing, is to regenerate. And a mechanic that honestly is not used that much anymore. It's just kind of been phased out to do other things, but essentially it's, you pay some sort of cost, and if it would be destroyed, you can instead tap it. I don't think it technically goes to the graveyard. I don't think it technically dies. I think it's, if instead it would do that, it just comes back tapped. And I think with its full like toughness. So yeah, very interesting to to predict that one to just show up. Okay. Wow. Just wow. Okay. We got 2 more to go. And next up, we've got Show and Tell. Okay, so it looks like we've got 2 of these. This is like my 3rd Show and Tell, like so close together. Like, oh my goodness, like why am I getting so many Show and Tells? Like, I'll take it. It's just like, are we gonna get 1 bonus sheet card non-foil and 1 of them foil? That would be cool, but yeah, like Show and Tell is a good one there, and all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, you know, here you go, you get like 3 of them, like out of nowhere. Thank you. 2 and a blue, sorcery. Each player may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land from their hand onto the battlefield. So, you know, just try to pick something that is really, really good in your hand to just put out and, you know, hope that your opponents don't have a whole lot of stuff in their hand, or, you know, you tailor it so you have something that's super expensive in your hand and you just get to put it out for free. All right, so we've got this villain and soldier creature token there for those ones, and we're gonna have our final card of the first pack here. What's it gonna be? Something cool? Loki, God of Mischief. Okay, and this looks like it's probably from another one of the scene cards there, so that's actually pretty cool. 1 and a blue, 2/1 legendary god sorcerer villain. Whenever a player or permanent becomes the target of an ability you control, you draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, so, I mean, that seems pretty good. Have a lot of targeted stuff, either have a lot of instants or things with flash, or get a Vidalcan Ori, you know, something that will let you cause flash, and just be out there every turn on, you know, doing 1 spell on every player's turn, drawing an extra card. That seems pretty cool. Yeah, I'd certainly take that. All right, yeah, pretty cool. It's got good artwork. It's got, you've got the Thing right here. You've got Loki and you've got Storm. It looks like there's maybe a Doctor Doom robot there, and some other robots over here that we can see, but I don't know if Storm is fighting Loki. It's hard to tell, but whether they're on the same team or not, it's still a really, really cool image. All right, well, we predicted something in the first pack. I don't think we're going to be able to do that in any more. Like, I'd like to get the Mind Stone, but I think we've used up all of our, like, special calling it luck for that one. So let's just see what we get. Shield deployment drone, 2 and a blue, 2/2 artifact robot with flying. Whenever this ETBs, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Well, we just saw those tokens, okay. Super strength with a little bit of Hulk on there. 4 and a green for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. The enchanted creature gets +4/+4 as trample and ward 1. Okay. Now it is pretty expensive to get out there, and you know they can always blow you out, so maybe not the best one to do. Like, it's interesting to make them really big and to give them trample and to give them some sort of protection there, but like 5 mana for something where they could just destroy the creature prior is a little bit risky. Aerial Doombot, 1 blue for a 1/1 artifact creature robot villain with flying and power up. So this one's new. 5 and a blue to put 3 +1/+1s on this creature. Activate each power up ability only once. Reduce the cost by its mana value, by its mana cost if it entered this turn. So if this entered this turn, you would have to pay 5 colorless because the blue is paid for. Okay, I mean, like, I could see this doing decently in limited, where it's, hey, I don't have a whole lot of cards in my hand, and I put this down, and for 6 to, you know, 1 for the blue and the remaining 5 for a 4/4 flyer, you know, not necessarily bad, but just in regular play, not that great. Baxter Building, okay, we saw this one in the Fantastic Four Commander deck, but I guess it's in from the regular ones. And we also see the Fantascar, which is, you know, the big new thing that might break older formats. But it's a land that taps for colorless, pay 4 and tap it to add 4 mana of any color, any combination of color, and then, or you can pay 4 and tap this to draw a card, activate only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Now the problem is, it's just like, it's either colorless, it mana fixes there, so like if you've got a lot of colorless mana, you can make it a certain mana, so that's all right. And then 4 mana to draw a card is kind of bad. Mockingbird, Ace Agent, 4 and a white for a 2/2 legendary human spy hero with double strike. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, you put a +1/+1 on Mockingbird. Interesting. I'm trying to think. In Feather the Redeemed, it's... Because I know in Hada, for Hada Hedron Grinder, it's her thing is if you target one of your if you target her, you make a copy of the spell that's targeting everyone else. But this is when you cast a spell. It's not when you copy a spell. So that's the only thing. You have to specifically be casting it. So it wouldn't work with those, unfortunately. Pumpkin Bombardment. Now, this one was from the Spider-Man set, and we have gotten the scene version of it, but this is black and red, not black and red, a hybrid black-red for a sorcery, additional cost to cast it. You either discard a card or you pay 2, deals 3 damage to target creature, so, you know, could be good if you want to discard a card for Menace or Mayhem there, or just some other cost. Grape Shot, okay, so getting a little bit of that is nice. 1 and a red, sorcery, deals 1 damage to any target, but it's got that storm, so it's really, really good for storming off. You know, you cast a lot of cantrips so that you're drawing cards and whatnot, and playing a whole lot of different spells that are cheap. They're 0 or 1 mana, so that you build up the storm cost so that you can do the Grape Shot and kind of like ping someone down. Now, this seems very good with that plan that we just entered up of, like, you know, all our adversaries must perish or something like that, because it's, you would have it down, and then on a subsequent turn, you play the 1 mana spell, you get a treasure, and, you know, cantrip it, you know, draw another card, and just keep on doing that for 4 times. So you got, you know, your 4 card draw, you got your 4 storm cost, 4 storm count, and then you do the 7 damage to their face, and then it's saying like, oh, then, you know, you've got Grape Shot, which then copies 5 times. Well, it copies 4 times, so it does 5 at that point there. So that's another 5 damage. So you're dealing 12 off of that, which is interesting. MJ, Rising Star, straight from the Spider-Man set again. 2 and a white, legendary human performer with vigilance. Whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on MJ. She's playing some sort of telenovela or something, you know, beautiful scarlet hair. And alternate artwork of Baron Strucker, Hydra Overlord, 2 and a black, 2/2, legendary human villain. Villain spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's very nice. You know, a little spell reduction cost is always good. Whenever another villain you control ETBs, you can have it connive. Do this only once each turn. Okay, that's also pretty good. Potentially making them bigger, you know, looking at the top of your deck there. Well, not looking at the top of your deck. You draw a card and then discard a card. So, but that's also good. Like drawing a card and discarding a card, a lot of the villains have mayhem costs. So, you know, you discard a villain to your graveyard that has the mayhem cost and potentially play it for cheaper from the graveyard there. That's always nice. Island. Okay, so it looks like we've got someone flying in to be able to help on the bridge here. Somebody with maybe elastic powers that's catching the bus. Another person that's trying to push it up from the bottom there. Yeah, you know, it's a nifty little island. First rare, the Silver Surfer. Okay. Silver Surfer, Cosmic Voyager, 4 and double blue for a 5/5 legendary alien hero with flash and flying. There's our flash. Flash! Ah! Saviors of the universe! Whenever Silver Surfer ETBs, you exile any number of other target permanents you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. If a land enters this way, it enters tapped. Okay, so big protection spell of not necessarily phasing things out, but pretty darn good to use it as a card for any sort of blinking decks there, getting the ETB triggers again, but is also really good at saving all of your stuff. So that's pretty cool. I'll certainly take that. Dragon Man, Reformed Robot. This one was from the Commander decks. 2, a white and a blue. Star 5, legendary artifact creature, dragon robot, flying. Its power is equal to the greatest mana value among non-creature permanents you control and non-creature cards in your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So you could discard, a big sorcery, instant, or artifact to your graveyard so it has a bigger power there, or, when it's already out, it could have something based off of what you already have. But yeah, it's got big toughness there, so potentially looking at like a Arcades deck, you could put that one in there if, you're not looking at having a whole lot of big instants or sorceries and having the 5 toughness. Not too bad. And Epic Fight, again, looking like another one of our scene cards here. 2 and a green for sorcery, choose one or both. Double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. That's nice. Would be better on an instant. Target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. So a little bit of a fight spell. Unfortunately, well, actually, I was going to say, unfortunately, choosing this one, it's not that great because it's saying like, oh, well, it's 1 green to do like prey upon or, fight spells and whatnot. They're kind of coming down to 1 green or 1 in the green there. So for that, it's not really worth it. But because you get to choose both, it's a fine fight spell that, you pay a little bit extra to get the double there. It looks like we've got Miss Marvel. We've got some form of Spider-Man there. It looks like a Spider-Man lizard almost. I don't recognize all of these people. Looks like we got some Ultron robots down here. Yeah. Okay. And next up, we've got Righteous Fury, 4 on double white for a sorcery. Destroy all tapped creatures. You gain 2 life for each tapped creature destroyed this way. So mass board wipe for all sorts of tapped creatures there. And it looks like maybe this is... looks a little bit like older style. Now, it looks like we've got more modern jets there, but we've got some older ones in the background there. And this might be Bucky, and we've got Captain America in his classic uniform there. And this guy looks to be, older styles there, but okay. We'll certainly take more of our, special bonus sheet cards there, always. Okay, well, that was the second to last one there, and that one was not shiny. So it looks like, because it's like we got those, we got the show and tell, and our final card is going to be a Baron Helmut Zemo. So I can't remember if this one was also within the Commander decks. Maybe not. 3 black mana for a 3/3 legendary human noble villain. Whenever you cast a black spell from your hand, Baron Helmut Zemo connives and boast. Exile any number of black cards from your graveyard with 15 or more black mana symbols among them, and you copy those exiled spells. You may cast up to 3 of the copies without paying their mana cost. That's actually pretty cool. If you exile black cards, 15 or more black pips, and you get to copy 3 of them for free, and the other ones you have to pay the mana for, but still, 3 free spells from your graveyard is pretty darn good. You could get something like Phyrexian Obliterator, which is 5 black mana pips into this. That's pretty darn good. That is pretty darn good. And we've got a little treasure villain action as well. Okay. Now, I think that we've gotten some interesting things. Obviously, I think that the bonus sheet cards are the most interesting things that we've gotten so far. But let's keep on going and see what we can get. All right, third pack. Now, we haven't been rubbing them for luck. Maybe that's what's going on. AIM Scientist, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 human scientist villain. ETBs, it connives, and you can basic land cycle it away. Okay. Helicarrier Strike, 1 white for an instant teamwork. Now we've got it. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may tap any number of creatures you control with power 2 or more. So it's just tapping them there instead of having them. So I was kind of thinking that might have been a possibility, but it's good to know. It deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. If this spell was cast using teamwork, it deals 4 damage to that creature instead. Honestly, not that bad, 1 white mana to deal 4 damage to a creature. Now it's got to be attacking or blocking. It can't just be out on the field, but still, a decent removal there. Kree Commandos, 2 and a white for a 2/1 Kree soldier villain, flying and vigilance with prowess. Okay, a little bit too expensive there, but the prowess is nice. Team Tactics, 1 and a red, instant, teamwork 1, so you can tap with 1 power or greater. Target creature gains double strike until end turn. If this was cast using teamwork, it gains trample as well. That's not too bad. 2 mana for double strike and trample. That's a good combat trick to potentially get through. Villainous Hideout, a land that taps for colorless. Tap to add 1 mana of any color, spend it only to cast a villain spell or activate an ability of a villain source, so good in a villain deck. Or pay 3 and a tap, target villain you control connives. If you don't need the colored mana there to spend it on stuff, being able to just connive is fine. It can only be used as a sorcery, so you can't like save this up for anything, unfortunately. Space Shift. So this looks like a brand new one from the Jumpstart decks. 1 in a blue, instant, exile target artifact or creature, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Again, another really good blink effect there. Bring it back a little bit stronger, protect it there, and we've got Thanos on his space throne. Mob Lookout, we did see this one in Spider-Man, just when it ETBs and target creature you control connives. It could be them, could be someone else. Iron Suitcase, so another new one here. 1 colorless for an artifact that ETBs, you scry 2, and you can pay 3 mana for it to become a 3/3 construct artifact creature with flying until end of turn. So, you gotta pay 3 mana to make it a 3/3 flyer, so might not be the best one there. Blazing Crescendo, again, another one from one of these scenes here. Looks like we've got Scarlet Witch there. I don't exactly know who this one is, but it's a very intimidating artwork. 1 in a red, instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play it. So 1 creature gets a little bit bigger, and you also impulse draw. Okay, I think that we saw this one in like March of the Machines or, one of those ones from the final Phyrexian War arcs. And Forest, it looks like we've got Black Panther fighting someone. Maybe Namor. I can't quite tell who the other person is here, but fighting on some sort of bunker. Yeah, it's a nifty little forest. Absolutely will take more artworks. First rare is going to be Amazing Spider-Girl. 3 and double white. Surprisingly not from the Spider-Man set. 5/4 legendary spider-human hero with web slinging 2 and a white. So you can return a tapped creature you control to your hand and cast this for the 2 and white instead of its 3 and double white. And it's got flying and vigilance. Okay. Maybe this is the daughter of Peter Parker and maybe MJ because it's May Day. I don't know. Seems likely, but, decent. Hatut Zaraze Strike Force, 3 and a white, 2/2 human spy warrior. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. When this ETBs, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. Now, this is a pretty good one here in white because if you've cast your commander a whole lot, particularly maybe good in something like, I can't remember what it is. It was one of the Bant commanders from the 2014, I think, or 2013, I think, commander decks that I think it's Derevi, who it's like the owl-looking commander that's Bant, and you can play it from the command zone for 1, a white, a green, and a blue instead of its normal cost, but it counts as casting it, so you could potentially cast it a whole bunch of times from your command zone and then do this so that it ETBs and you can destroy a whole lot of artifacts and enchantments. That would be pretty cool. And we also got Fin Fang Foom. What a name. 2 and double red for a 3/5 legendary alien dragon villain with flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets an artifact or a land, you copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Fin Fang Foom. So, good with land destruction, good with artifact destruction. So if you're into trying to get rid of some of those, or just copying some stuff, but you have to have ones that target those things specifically, sure, you know, seems pretty decent there. A lot of land destruction spells are in red, so if you want to do this, I guess you could, but people are not going to like you. And we've got a foil Bedlam, which has, this is Iron Fist, and oh, I'm trying to remember his name. Like Luke Cage, I think it is. Luke Cage and Iron Fist, maybe. It looks like we got like a lot of gambling stuff in the background there and some fighting that they're doing. So 2 and double red for an enchantment. Creatures can't block. So, you know, you could just try to get a whole bunch of creatures out there and just swing in really, really hard there to do it there. You know, go wide board so that, you know, it's just like, you better start attacking type of deal because you can't be blocking. So, you know, a decent one there. We'll certainly take it. And we'll have our art card of that, you know, team tactics there. And our final card of the pack is going to be, ooh, okay, so our first, like, true mythic, because all of these are considered mythics, but from the bonus sheets. But this is our first one, and we got the special one with the names in the background. Captain Marvel, Earth's Protector, 3 and double white. 5/4, a legendary human hero with flash, so can come in on any turn, that's nice. Flying and lifelink, power up, 5 and double white, put a +1/+1 counter and an indestructible counter on Captain Marvel. But because she is 3 and double white, you know, you take that out of the power up cost, it's pay 2 extra mana there, so it's like 7 mana to have her be a 6/5 with indestructible, flash, flying, and lifelink. And I believe that if we looked on one of those previous ones with the power up, I believe that it's not done as a sorcery. So that would be really cool. I'm gonna just quickly check that. Yes, so looking back on the Aerial Doombot that had it, you know, it's still the power up, and it says activate each power up ability only once, reduce the cost by its mana cost if it enters this turn. It does not say as a sorcery speed ability, so you could flash her in and then spend the 2 extra mana at instant speed. So if they tried to get rid of it, then you could respond by doing that ability. That's actually pretty nice there. I will absolutely take that, you know. Might not be the biggest Captain Marvel fan, but she does look good in the red and the blue there. She's got the, you know, her fist all powered up to be able to strike down anybody there. And, you know, got that kind of background that they did with the Final Fantasy one. So good to be able to get a mythic with the alternate art. That's really cool. Okay, now we got to start rubbing for luck because, you know, we finally got a cool one there. This Fin Fang Foom is probably one of the craziest names that I've heard of, and its effect is kind of nasty. So, but let's see if rubbing for luck will give us something. Knight of Wundagore. Weird. 1 and a green for a 2/1 Cat Knight villain with trample. Whenever you put a +1/+1 on another creature, you put a +1/+1 on this creature. This activates only once each turn. Okay, that's interesting in a deck that puts a lot of +1/+1s on things, because you could proliferate and get them out there, or you can, If you've got ways of doing it on each turn, then you can make this one bigger. You know, it's a common that has some use to it potentially. Okay. Stolen Stark tech. So this is from the first Iron Man movie, but I don't know exactly where it might be from the comic books. But you know, it's the Ironmonger. One in a red, not one in a red, one in a black for an artifact equipment with flash. That's always nice. You know, get it out there as a combat trick. When the CTBs attach it to target creature you control, that creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay, that's nice. Good combat trick. And they only get +1/+0, but, you know, protect them might seem good. Equip cost of 1, so it's not that bad to move it around. But again, it only gives +1/+0. AIM Synthoids. 2 mana for a 1/2 artifact creature robot villain. ETBs, your Surveil 2. You know, it's super villain lockup. You know, you got to make sure that, you know, they can't get away. 1 in a white, enchantment with flash. Another good one there. Lots of things with flash here. That's nice. When this ETBs, exile target tapped creature an opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield. So similar to some of the other ones like Oblivion Ring, except this plays at instant speed, but it has to be a little bit more specialized in a tapped creature instead of just a creature or a permanent there. So it makes sense. Moonstone, Harsh Mistress. 3 and a black for a 2/4 legendary human doctor villain. Interesting that we're putting the Doctor on there. So, I mean, I guess we can play this in a Doctor Who deck there and count it as a Doctor. Flying, whenever you discard a card, you may exile it from your graveyard. If you do until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Interesting. So this basically gives everything that you discard Mayhem for its normal mana cost. So that's actually pretty good. I would like to get more of these. One for Angie Falconroth, and then one for just like a regular villain deck there with like Harry Osborn and whatnot, because that seems like a pretty decent ability because you could get rid of anything that you wanted. And you can play it, so it does not say cast, it says play. So you could discard lands and be able to play them from the exile with this. This is actually... This I have a lot of uses for. That's nice. Spectacular Tactics. I think this one was from the Spider-Man set. 1 on a white instant, choose 1. Put a +1/+1 on target creature you control. It gains hexproof until end of turn, or destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Okay. Deadly Dispute, you know, kind of a classic one there. We've seen a whole lot. 1 and a black is an additional cost to cast. So you sack an artifact or creature, you draw 2 and create a treasure token. I like these. Definitely ones that are good to be able to copy. It looks like we've got Hammerhead, and this girl is, I guess, called Anaconda, and she's got these really long arms there. So I guess that's why she's Anaconda. Count Nefaria. Okay, 6 and a black, expensive. 6/6 legendary human villain. Costs 3 less to cast if you sacked a permanent this turn in flying. So really good in a aristocrat style deck of, you know, a 4 mana 6/6 flyer is not anything to scoff at there. Okay. Ooh, Avengers Tower in this I keep on forgetting it's not Showcase, the scene box card. Land taps for colorless. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, spend an land to cast a hero spell. So kind of the opposite of the, you know, the villain lookout. 4 and tap. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You can reveal a hero from among them, put it in your hand, rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order. Honestly, I'm going to say this is better than the villain one. You know, these two are the same things as the villain, just hero-wise. But this one here, this is an instant speed ability. 3 mana to connive, or 4 mana to look at the top 3. So connive is just like draw a card in there. So you guarantee draw a card, and you got to discard 1, so technically no card advantage, but for 1 extra mana, you play it at instant speed, you look at 3 cards instead of 1, and you put, you know, only a hero from among them, and the rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order, but, like, that's still a pretty good one there. I definitely will like this one over the villain one. and a mountain. Looks like we got Tony Stark in his apartment looking out over everything there. And I don't exactly know what this art style is, but I think that it's really cool. Like, I've definitely seen this before, and I really, really dig it. Sylvia Liu, you did a fantastic job on it. It looks so good. First rare is going to be a mythic Ultron the Annihilator, and I think that this is a difficult one potentially to get from the Jumpstart packs, maybe. If so, like, that's awesome. 3 and double black for a 3/4 legendary artifact creature robot villain with flying, and whenever Ultron enters or attacks, you create a 2/2 colorless robot villain artifact creature token. So you get 5/6 power for 5 mana, and whenever another artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, or an artifact card is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. Okay, so kind of like Sir Conrad the Grim, except with artifacts instead of creatures, maybe. So honestly, pretty darn good in an artifact deck there. Like, if you've got an Esper one, or if you've got Brea, with her 4 colors, something that's black, blue, or I don't know what other ones, black, white artifacts. Like, what goes along with, artifacts in black, red? Red has a lot of artifacts there too, so very interesting one, and I think it could be very, very powerful, honestly. Yeah, fantastic to get that, especially if that's one of the hard ones to get in the Jumpstart packs. Next rare is going to be Martial Coup, okay, from the Commander decks. Unfortunately, it's not one of the new ones, so I'm a bit disappointed with that, because generally we're supposed to get the new cards from it, and this is an old card that's been reprinted, so like I said, pretty disappointed with that. Ooh, if we could get a Phantaz card in one of these, that's good value. X and double white sorcery, create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. If X is 5 or more, you destroy all their creatures, so it's a board wipe there. Yep, it's fine. And up next we've got Cloak and Dagger Entwined. Okay, so we've seen some of these. They are in Marvel Rivals as well. 1, a white and a black for a 2/2 legendary human hero with Death Touch and Lifelink. Okay. When Cloak and Dagger ETBs, choose target opponent and up to 1 target creature they control. They reveal their hand, and you may exile a non-land card from their hand or the chosen creature until Cloak and Dagger leaves the battlefield. Okay, so it's a Death Touch, Lifelink, Oblivion Ring that that can also hit their hand, but they also reveal their hand. So I'm going to say that Cloak and Dagger could actually be a good card in maybe a standard format where it's, getting rid of something on the field, Death Touch, getting, making it so it's difficult to attack into. Potential. I know that it's only 2 toughness, so it might be easy to remove, but, 3 mana for a removal, and you also get to look at their hand. That seems kind of decent. And we've also got from our bonus sheets, we've got Anthem of Champions, and it looks like we've got a ton of different ones on here. Daredevil, Captain America, Ant-Man, Iron-Man. I don't know who you are, but we got Namor, Spider-Man, Hulk, Wasp, my boy Doctor Strange. I'm not familiar with you, but probably Human Torch, The Thing, Thor, Silver Surfer, maybe Beast, Cyclops, Wolverine. I don't know who you are, or any of these guys. I don't know if Angel is one. I'm not familiar. Scarlet Witch, Vision. Maybe that's Luke Cage. We've got Moon Knight. Moon Knight is on a card. Hello. But like, really cool artwork for them there. But Anthem of Champions, green and a white for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. It's an Anthem effect. It's in the name itself there. It's just, instead of being pure white, it's green and white there. So, okay. And another soldier villain token. Final card of the pack is going to be... well, I guess rubbing the pack for luck got us the Ultron, so that's good. But this one is going to be a Kang the Conqueror, another mythic. Okay, so 2 mythic box. I mean, not counting this, but yeah, very nice. Kang the Conqueror, sorry, you know, you didn't get your movie in the MCU. 2 and double blue for a 4/5 legendary human villain with flying. Power up 5 and 3 blue. So if you play him out, well, so it's 8 mana. So you essentially have to pay double the cost for it. But if you do, you put a +1/+1 counter on him, and you take an extra turn after this. During that turn, power-up abilities can't be activated. That's not too bad. Like 8 mana to play a guy and then be like, yes, I also take an extra turn. That's that's a nifty one on a guy there, you know. 8 mana on another turn, or you just are like, yeah, you know, play him for 8 mana. And again, the power-ups can be used at instant speed, so if they try to get rid of him, you can just be like, oh yeah, you know, I used that anyway. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. You know, foil extended art mythic that lets you take extra turns is good, but I still think that probably the Captain Marvel is my preferred of them there. You know, a little bit of beatdown. I do like my extra turns, but they're about equivalent there, I guess. But so yeah, there are some pretty cool ones here so far. Cooler than any of the stuff that we got in TMNT and Spider-Man for sure. Though I guess Krang was good, and we didn't get a Super Shredder, but Super Shredder would be cool too. All right, next pack, Rub for Luck. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is that Peggy Carter there? 2 and a white, 2/4, human spy hero. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn, so kind of gives a little bit of a pseudo-exalted effect. Unliving Legionnaire. They should have just given it exalted instead of that. Unliving Legionnaire, 3 and a black, 3/2 vampire villain with flying, power up, 5 and double black. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, plus put 2 +1/+1s on this creature. Honestly, it should have been onto the battlefield there, you know, paying 7 mana for it. And even if you play it for that, you still have to pay 3 extra mana for it. Wakandan Royal Guard, 4 and a green for 4 human soldier hero. Vigilance, when it ETBs, you put a +1/+1 on target hero. If it's another hero, you instead put 2 +1/+1s on it. A little bit too expensive for that effect. Super Intelligence, 1 blue for an enchantment aura, enchant creature. Beginning of the upkeep of the enchanted creature's controller, that player draws a card. At the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller, it draws a card. So you put it on your own thing to potentially draw an extra card. Okay. Big head there. Big head. That's a 5 head, if anything. Truck Toss with Abomination there. Throwing the tacos, not the tacos. 4 and double red for an instant. Costs 2 less to cast if you control a vehicle. It deals 4 damage to any target. Honestly, 2 red for 4 damage is not necessarily that bad when we've got generally like Shock is 1 red, but we've gotten lots of Lightning Bolts, which is 1 and a red, which is 3 damage. So, you know, making it just 2 red is 4. No, Hulk also says no, I love tacos. We also got Molly Hayes, Runaway, 2 and a red for a 3/3 legendary mutant hero. Power up 5 and a red, put 2 +1/+1s on her, and then exile the top card of your library. So you put 2 +1/+1s on her, and you impulse draw. Okay. Okay, yeah. It seems decent there, you know. 6 mana for a 5/5 that impulse draws. A little bit too expensive for it, but it's fine. Virtuous Variant. Weird Spider-Man there. They've got the regular limbs, and then they've got like 2 robotic limbs there, and it looks like it's coming out of a portal. 2 and a white, 1/2 Spider-Human hero with flying, and for some reason this one has flying, and not other Spider-Men. When this creature ETTPs, you put a +1/+1 on target creature you control. Okay. Shuri, Vibranium Technologist, 2 and a hybrid white-blue for a 2/2 legendary human artificer hero with vigilance. ETB, you choose 1. You create a 1/1 colorless robot hero artifact creature token with flying, or you draw a card. That's pretty meh. The Thing, Ben Grimm, in our... looks like an alternate art. This one, I mean, maybe it'll be like a 4/1 with like Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm and Johnny Blaze. Maybe. 5 and a green 7/7 legendary human hero with trample. Whenever one or more heroes you control deal damage to a player, you put 2 +1/+1s on the thing, so it gets a little bit bigger. You know, not the worst thing ever, you know, good in a beatdown deck. And another mountain here where it looks like we've got some people fighting it off. We've got Iron-Man doing its repulsor blast on one. We've got Captain Marvel fighting another one. Town is on fire there, but definitely got that like mountain peak feel to it. You know, another decent mountain one, but it's a mountain that also has another Iron Man on it. Very interesting. First rare, Agent Phil Coulson. And wait a second. We got a rare with, not a rare, a mountain with a Captain Marvel and Iron Man on it. And we got, in the same pack, this one has the reflection of Iron Man and Captain Marvel in it. Interesting. 1 and a white, 2/2, legendary human spy hero with vigilance. Tap to put a +1/+1 in each other hero you control. That's not too bad there. You know, go wide board, you put a +1/+1 in everything. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Ooh, and Coastal Peak. So this is a tapped and cycling land, but also has the island and mountain characteristics there. Maybe this one is from the commander decks there, maybe. I don't think it would come from the Jumpstart pack, so okay, you know, lands are always good. I don't think this is a particularly great one, but, you know, we'll still take it. And Arc Reactor from its, I would probably say, showcase art, which is this more comic book style here. 5 mana for an artifact with improvise, so you can tap artifacts to be able to help pay for its cost. And this enters tapped, and it taps to add 3 colorless mana, so kind of like a Thran Dynamo that you can help play a little bit easier instead of 4 mana. Thran Dynamo, I don't know if that one enters tapped, though, so interesting, but I'm not sure if it's super amazing there. And how many do we have left? We got 2 more left. Okay, so decent. And another show and tell. So unfortunately, doubling up on some of our bonus sheet cards, that's a bit strange. I mean, we'll take more show and tells. That's interesting, but it's like, I'd like to get some other ones, please. We got the squirrel for Squirrel Girl, and we got Galactus there. Whenever Galactus attacks, destroy target land. Oh boy. That's probably like something that comes from, I don't know if there's like a saga that's probably the Coming of Galactus or something like that. Maybe it's a Silver Surfer thing. I mean, we got one Silver Surfer that didn't do anything with Galactus, but who knows. And our final big card is going to be an Absorbing Man. Okay, so not anything super amazing in this pack there. I mean, Arc Reactor is fine, and the show and tell is nice, but nothing super interesting, it looks like. 1 and a green-blue for a 4/4 legendary human villain with vigilance. Beginning of your first main phase, until your next turn, Absorbing Man becomes a copy of up to 1 target artifact, non-aura enchantment, or land, except his name is Absorbing Man. He's a legendary 4/4 human villain creature in addition to his other types and has vigilance. Okay, so that's actually a pretty good ability because you just create another, it doesn't give any ETB triggers or anything like that, but you could make him like an Arc Reactor and give you 3 extra mana. You know, it could be a Mana Rock. He could be another Gaia's Cradle, if you've got Gaia's Cradle out there. Blue, I mean, he could be a copy of Tolarian, what is it, Tolarian College, Tolarian University, whatever it is, the Tolarian Academy. That's what it is, Tolarian Academy. Even one of those good ones there. An enchantment that gives you a whole lot of stuff, but it's just like, I mean, I was like, you know, probably not that great on first look, but no, after reading it, it's just like, you could get some good stuff with this, so I'm actually happy with this. All right, and now moving to the last pack of the first half here. Can we get some more cool things? Because we've got some decent cool things. Nothing, I think, that's out of the park yet, but get some cool things. Volcanic Villain. not even named, just a volcanic villain. 2 and a red, 3/2, elemental villain with haste. Power up, you put 2+1/+1s on it. Not that great. Ant-Man's Army, 2 and a green, 3/2 insect. ETBs, you create a food or a treasure token. Also kind of a meh. Giant-sized flying ant. More Ant-Man here. 3 and a blue for a 3/2 insect with flash and flying. Flash is nice. When it ETBs, choose one, tap target non-land permanent or untap target non-land permanent. Wiccan, Rising Magician. Are they related to the... I didn't see the Agatha TV series, but I know that there was like a boy witch or something like that. Is that who this is? Is that Wiccan? 4 and a blue, 4/4 legendary mutant warlock hero with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile target non-land, non-token permanent. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So good for you to be able to rescue your own stuff, blink deck, be able to get rid of like a blocker or something on your opponent's side, prevent them from doing anything with that. Decent. Ronin, Shadow Stalker, who I don't know if it's different from Hawkeye in the comics, but we know that that's who he becomes in the MCU. 2 and a black, 3/3 legendary human rogue hero. Pay 2 life, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this to only cast equipment spells or activate equipped abilities. Activate only once each turn. You can tap to sack an equipment attached to him for target creature to get -4/-4 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Not too fond of that. Swarm, Being of Bees. We saw this one in the Spider-Man one. 2 and a black, 2/2 legendary insect villain. Flash and flying, mayhem, 1 black. Yep. Whoosh. Very, very good. Dear to my heart there. 1 and a blue. Instant with kicker, 1 and a blue. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If it was kicked, draw a card. It's way too overpriced for all of that, but again, from the Spider-Man set, I'm pretty sure. Falcon, Joaquin Torres, 2 and a white, 2/2 legendary bird human hero with flying and lifelink. Battalion. Whenever Falcon and at least 2 other creatures attack, you put a +1/+1 counter on them and you use Scry. Okay. Abomination, Terrifying Titan. Again, this is like in the Hulk Smash one. 3 and a hybrid red-green for a 4/4 legendary gamma villain with trample. Power up 5 and double red-green hybrid to put a +1/+1 on him and fight 1 target creature and opponent controls. Honestly, not that big. I would have assumed Abomination would have been bigger than that. Planes. I don't know if these are Kree soldiers or whatnot, but it looks like we've got Falcon, and it looks like we got Captain America down there as well. Okay, decent little planes. Small town. Saving a small town. First rare is going to be Wasp, Shrinking Savior. I don't know if that's supposed to be Juggernaut in the background. Probably not. It's got these buzzsaws. 2 and a blue for a 1/3 legendary human hero with flying. When Wasp attacks, up to 1 other target creature gets -3/-0 until your next turn. Then draw a card for each creature with power less than 0 on the battlefield. Power less than 0. Interesting. So if they've got 0, it doesn't work, but if they've got like -2 power, okay. So this is a deck that might be looking like, if you put this into a deck or maybe you have her as the commander, there's a lot of those blue cards that's like they get -X, -0 until the end of turn or whatnot there. So being able to draw a card for each of those is honestly not too shabby, but not the greatest ability. Quicksilver Speedster. Now, we did see this one in the commander decks, and I do like it. 3 a blue and a red, 3/4 legendary mutant hero with flash, double strike, and haste. And as long as he's tapped, you may cast spells the way they flash. So a little bit of a Vidalcan Orrery effect. I really like that. Being able to play things at flash, instant speed is really cool. I'll definitely take more of him. Construct a Cosmic Cube. Interesting. Another plan, 2 and a black, enchantment plan. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you create a 2/1 black villain creature token with menace, and you put a plan counter on this enchantment. When the 7th plan counter is put on this enchantment, you sacrifice it. When you do, you control target opponent during their next turn. Okay, so you get a a deck that likes to draw a whole lot of cards, and then you're just like, I'm going to control your next turn. Okay. That's an interesting one. You know, being able to draw a whole lot of extra cards makes that pretty cool. And Escape to the Wilds as our foil bonus sheet card. 3, a red and a green. For its sorcery, exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn. You may play an additional land this turn. So you could play, hopefully you get 2 lands there, so you can play 2 lands from it. This came out from the original Eldraine, Throne of Eldraine. So this time here we got a picture of Hulk jumping out into the wilderness there. Okay, we'll absolutely take that. It's a new one. Not going to be the greatest one, but it's still a new one there. We'll certainly take it. Oh, I just saw that what we've got here is a double-faced card. So what's it going to be? I don't know what double-faced cards we've got in this. So drum roll. What's it going to be? Oh, a Bruce Banner. Okay, so we got one of the really, really good ones to get. These like special ones, I don't know if they're all double-faced there, but they've got this kind of like special comic book art style. That's a great one. And this is also, it's Teamer. So this one is Teamer because it's got blue to cast it, but it's also got red and green. So you can cast it for blue, or you can pay mana to play it on the other side here for the Incredible Hulk. But this is, I think, like the first... I think this is like the first artwork for the Incredible Hulk. So let's move the villain soldier out of the way and start looking at this one here, because this one is going to be super cool. Bruce Banner, 1 blue for a 1/1 legendary human scientist hero. Double X tap to draw X cards, activate only as a sorcery. So if it was just blue and red, sorry, not blue and red, blue and green, we could play it in like the Primo deck or something, but we could also have this as the commander of that Strixhaven deck as well, to be able to get that and, you know, reduce the cost and whatnot. So potentially drawing a whole lot of extra cards, you know, sure, but this can also transform for 2 double red and double green, activate only as sorcery, or you can play him for 2 double red and double green for the Incredible Hulk. He has 12 cents. So he is a 8/8 legendary Gamma Berserker hero with trample and reach. Interesting for reach. But in rage, okay, and a rage cost. Whenever the Incredible Hulk is dealt damage, you put a +1/+1 counter on him. If he's attacking, untap him, and there is an additional combat phase after this phase. Okay, so interesting. So if you've got ways of dealing like a little bit of extra damage to him, like, I don't know, but it's only him that does it. But potentially, I mean, Dolmen Gate is really good for him there. But no, Dolmen Gate just prevents damage, so it wouldn't actually get the enrage cost on him there. But, I mean, it's an interesting one of being able to attack in, make him bigger, get another combat step, attack in with him again. He also came out May 1st. Now, May is the month of my birth date, so I guess it makes sense for me to get this one in particular. Wow, that's a... Oh boy, that's a really good one for us to get. I think that's going to really help us out, and I'm really thrilled to be able to get one of those. Good for the collection, obviously. So I guess the end of the first half was really, really good. So let's rub for a little bit more luck, see if we might be able to get anything here. Okay. This time around, we've got Surveillance Room, another land. I thought this was going to be like them surveilling Loki from like the MCU, but no, it's just like looking over everything else. ETBs, you surveil 1, tap to add a colorless, or pay 1 tap to add 1 mana of any color. So a little bit of mana fixing there, but a little bit, you know, not that great. Decoy plan, 1 and a black, choose 1 or both, return target villain from your graveyard to your hand, return target hero from your graveyard to your hand. So potentially be able to get both, okay? Asgardian Citadel, so we haven't gotten any of these yet, but it looks like it's a gain land, you know, gain 1 life and taps for 1 of 2 colors there, okay? Khazar of the Savage Lands, 4 and a green, 3/2, legendary human barbarian hero. Look at the top card of your library at any time. Can play lands from the top of your library. That's nice. When it ETBs, you create Zabu, a legendary 2/2 green cat creature token with landfall. Whenever a land you control ETBs, you put a +1/+1 on him. Oh, you know, not that shabby for an uncommon legendary creature. Photon Blast Barrage, X and double red for a sorcery. Whenever you cast the spell copy, it's copy it X times. You may choose new targets for the copy. Photon Blast Barrage deals 1 damage to target creature. Okay, so more that you put into it there, more times it gets copied. If you copy it, then if you put it into a copy deck, the amount of time that you copy it goes up bigger. Now it's only damage to a creature, so that's the only unfortunate thing about it there. You know, I wish it was to like any target. Shock, we've seen this before. It's classic, 1 red, instant, deals 2 to any target. Gallant Citizen, I think we saw this one in the Commander deck. ETBs, you draw a card. Virtual Assistant, 1 and a blue for a 3/3 artifact creature, Illusion Advisor with Defender. Whenever you cast a spell using Teamwork, you create a 1/1 colorless robot hero artifact creature token with flying. It's okay. Okay, so, yep, it looks like we do have a trio here. We did get the Thing. Now we've got Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards with his big sausage fingers there. 3 and a blue for a 2/4 legendary human scientist hero with reach. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control ETB, you draw a card. So that's actually pretty good. You know, in a token generator deck, you know, you make some tokens, you draw a card. Then you make tokens again, you draw more cards. I could see this being useful there. Another planes with that same one we got. Okay, first rare is going to be Vision, Spectral Synthoid, passing through one of those Ultron robots. 6 and double blue, that's expensive. 8 mana for a 2/5 legendary artifact creature robot hero with flying. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a non-creature or robot spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. So it's so expensive because it's got playing things for free from your hand. 8 mana to play is so expensive, though. You got to find a way to like reduce this. You know, I think that there's something that's like give everything in your hand convoke or give everything in your hand improvise. Like all artifacts have improvise in your hand or something like that. That would be good with it. But like 8 mana to play this is so difficult to like, even for just playing one thing for free. Okay, I could see you using it. You just got to make it find a way to make it cost less. And Kindred Dominance, okay, so removal spell here that I think we got from our commander deck for the villains. 5 and double black for a sorcery. Choose a creature type. Destroy all creatures that aren't of the chosen type. Yep. That's very good. You know, little kindred way of, you know, getting rid of a whole bunch of, for a one-sided board wipe. And Gathering Place, okay, so this is a interesting land here. This probably is an alternate art for it. It's a land that taps for a colorless, or it can tap for a green or white. Activate only if this entered this turn, or if you control a basic. Honestly, that's not too bad. Like, as a stipulation there, you know, taps for colorless, or the turn that it ETBs, it doesn't enter tapped at all. Turn it ETBs, you get a green or white, so mana fixing, but you got to control a basic land in order for it to continue to get green and white. Honestly, I think that's a pretty good one to do. I think this is pretty nice. I'm going to like these. I wonder how many of the different styles they've got of this. Do they have one of each type? Are they going to only do half of them in this one and half in the other one? Because I like that. Don't Move. So it looks like we got a Black Panther here maybe. 4 and double white, sorcery. Destroy all tapped creatures until your next turn. Whenever a creature becomes tapped, destroy it. Okay, so don't tap anything there and everything will be okay. No attacking in. Anything that did attack in is gone. Nice. Okay, well, you know, that's an interesting one there. I don't know where this one comes from originally, but we'll absolutely take another cool one here. Thank you. And it looks like we got some sort of Thanos Mad Titan, but we get only like a fraction of him. This doesn't make any sense. It's just like, yes, you know, here's an art card, but we're only going to give you part of the artwork. What? Final card of the pack is going to be Another construct a cosmic cube. Okay, so got a second one there. I'm not sure how many of these we'd actually play, but we got one that if we want to bling out the deck, we can do that. That's fine, but get some decent stuff in there as well, but not quite the most amazing one. A little bit more rub for luck. Hopefully we can get another interesting thing here. Not a shield spy kit. 1 white for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Equipped creature attacks alone, untap it, and scry 1. That's not too bad. Give it pseudo vigilance and scry. Okay. D-power, going down from the Hulk back to Banner. 2 and a blue, instant, costs 2 less to cast if it targets an attacking creature. Target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn. Draw a card. That can go a little bit well with the Wasp. I don't know where we saw her again. Wasp is whenever she attacks, so it's only when she attacks. So this had to be off of a creature you control, so she can't get it like that. But you still draw a card anyway, so, plays itself out. Attacking creature, give them -4/-0, make them a little bit smaller and draw a card, replace it for 1 mana. Okay, that could be decent. Brave Brawler, 1 and a white, creature, human warrior hero, 2 and a 1, lifelink, power up, just put 2 +1/+1s on him, not that great. Political Triumph, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. 1 white for an enchantment plan. Whenever a creature you control ETBs, you scry 1 and put a plan on it. Okay, that's not too bad. When the 4th one goes on it, you sack it, draw a card, and you put a +1/+1 in each creature you control. Hey, that's not a bad plan. It's 1 mana, and you scry 4 times by putting stuff out, and then once you do the last one, you replace it by drawing, and then you put a +1/+1 in each creature. Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent one. Mr. Hyde, monster within, 2 and a green, 2/2, legendary human villain. Beginning of your upkeep, you choose 1, you put a +1/+1 on him, or you remove a counter from a creature you control to draw a card. That's not too shabby. I mean, like in the Tidus deck where you're putting a whole bunch of stuff out, you're proliferating a whole lot of things to potentially say, hey, I'm just going to remove a counter from something and draw a card. Sure. Fantastic Bounce, 3 and a blue for a sorcery, deals reduce the cost by 2 if it targets a tapped creature. Return the target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Draw a card. That's fine, but you're probably going to want to do it with an untapped thing, or you could, because it's a sorcery, you can't do it at instant speed to protect something. Sif's Spearmaster, 2 and a red, 1/4, God Warrior Hero. Tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target opponent. Okay, you make it bigger, potentially do more. Okay. Vault Guardsman. Okay, you've got them putting Venom on trial. You got Spidey in the background. 5 and a white. 3/4, artifact creature. Human Advisor, Convoke. So can make it cost less by tapping your creatures. Or each creature. When this ETBs, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So another Oblivion Ring effect there. Madam Hydra. So this looks like another one of our not art cards, our scene cards maybe. 2 and a black red for a 2/3 legendary human villain. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you create a 2. Whenever you cast a villain spell, you create a 2/1 black villain creature token with menace. Okay, put it in a villain deck and get a lot more tokens. That's not too shabby. Another one of these mountains with Iron-Man and Captain Marvel. First rare is going to be Winter Soldier, Icy Assassin. White and black, I think, does fit him very well. 2/2, legendary human assassin villain, vigilance and menace. Gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to him. Okay. 3, a white and a black. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on him. Then you may attach an artifact you control to him. Because he got, frozen in the ice. So it's like, it goes to the graveyard. You think he's dead, but he's actually going to come back. But once he dies that time, he's gone for good. But I could see this as a pretty decent Voltron commander. Vigilance and menace. Just got to give him like first strike or something so that he'll be able to go in because he can block with the vigilance. If they want to block with something, they got to get rid of 2 creatures because of the menace. I could see myself making a Voltron commander around him. Yeah, sure. White-black Voltron. Alicia Masters, Skilled Sculptor. 1 and a red, 0/4, legendary Human Artificer. Beginning of combat on your turn, if you cast a non-creature spell this turn, you create a treasure token. And since the good at the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they control. So a little bit of that, trying to give stuff to people maybe, or, prevent stealing of things. Getting the extra treasure is nice. And we've also got, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., another one of our name cards here. But it looks like he's going to be 5-color commander. 1 white for a 2/1 legendary human spy hero with power up 1 of each color. You put 2 +1/+1 counters on him. Then you look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a hero, equipment, or vehicle card from among them onto the battlefield. So you just play them for free. If it's a double-faced card, you may transform it and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, so you put him out for the white, and then if you pay 1 of each of the remaining colors on the turn he comes out, he becomes a 4/3. You get to play 1 of your things from the top for free. You could get like Bruce Banner and have him transformed into the Incredible Hulk. Okay. Now, power up is based off of mana that you spent for it. So unfortunately, if you do something like Captain Marvel, because you haven't spent the mana for it, the power up cost is the full amount. So that is the one thing that you have to be careful of with it. But still, like, I could see this as potentially a cool one there. And also, interestingly, with it is that I'm just realizing for a lot of these power-ups, if you play them as a commander, you reduce the cost based off of what it is. So if you play, let's say, Captain Marvel, and she does that and she dies and goes to the command zone, or she gets exiled, what have you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to play her again, and you play her for the tax, which is 2 and the 3 and the double white. Well, you just paid 7 mana for her, so her power up cost that turn is free. So Nick Fury, you play him for the 1 white, you do his things, he goes away, you play him again on a later turn, and he costs 2 extra to play. You play him for a white, a blue, and a black. Then all you have to do is just play an extra red and green to be able to get him out there. He goes away a second time, and you're playing him for a third time. You play him for 1 of each color, and his power up is free. Like, I think that's actually a pretty cool mechanic with those there that I'm just understanding. So I think power up commanders could potentially be good if you're looking to potentially play them more than once, or if you're expecting them to die at least 1 time. Okay, sure. Monstrous Rage. The common or uncommon that got banned in standard there. 1 red for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+0 until in turn you create a monster roll token attached to it. This time you got Red Hulk on it. Probably not going to be the best one to get because, it's not played really anywhere else. And then this is going to be the Thor artist card from this, like, Nick Fury and Captain Marvel one. So maybe we'll get that one. But final card of the pack is going to be, Namor the Submariner. So we got another mythic here. That's a good one as well. That's this classic style as well. I wonder if this one counts as this style. If it does, getting 2 of them, that's pretty darn good. Namor the Submariner. He's also 12 cents, I think. This one was 12 cents? Yeah, it is. This one also came out May 1st. Oh, man, these ones are coming out on the same as my birthdays. Well, not birthdays, but birth months. 1 in double blue for a legendary merfolk mutant villain, star 4 with flying. Namor's power is equal to the number of merfolk you control. So, tribal deck. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with 1 or more blue mana symbols in its mana cost, you create that many 1/1 blue merfolk creature tokens. So, mono blue, very heavy into the blue pips there, and, get a lot of extra ones. He can get really big there. He's got flying, so he can go in. Yeah, that's another really, really cool one there. Oh, boy. This is... If these are the same, like higher rarities there, that's actually pretty darn good. Oh, boy. All right. Rub more for luck because we're still getting some good stuff. Hey, please. And we're at what? So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mythics. Okay, so we want at least one more if we can, but we'd like to try to get 8, I think it is. Okay, so we're going to get Kunlun Warrior. Don't exactly know where they're from. 1 and a red for a 2/2 human warrior hero. ETBs, you may sack an artifact or discard a card if you do draw a card. Okay, good for that Angie Falconroth, potentially, discard a card to draw a card and play the card from exile. Okay. AAM Labs, so it looks like that's that MODOK there. And this is going to be the gain land just for blue and black. Okay, so getting the second one. Hydra Infiltration, 3 and a black enchantment. ETBs, target opponent discards 2 whenever a creature you control attacks alone. Target opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. I'll have to look at that one. That has potential there, but it's only target, so that's not quite as good. Shuri Wakandan Inventor, so we're getting many. This is like their 3rd Shuri. Interesting. Being Marvel superheroes, I would have imagined we not having quite as many. Like, I could imagine that we got a Shuri in this, unless the Shuri that we got was in the Jumpstart. If that's the case, that's fine. I don't see it, and so it might have been a different one, but it could have still been from a Jumpstart, just an uncommon slot, which would be fine. It's just we're seeing so many of them, it's like, oh. But 1 in a blue, 2/1, legendary human artificer hero. Artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay, reducing cost is always good. 1 and tap, target artifact you control becomes a copy of a second target artifact you control, except it isn't legendary. That is good. Oh boy, this is a good card. Potentially making just a generic artifact, like one of your Vibranium tokens. It's like, oh, I don't need it there. Or you could tap the Vibranium token for the colorless to tap this to have it become a copy of one of the other artifacts that gives you some sort of benefit for just being on the field, like a Panharmonicon or something like that. That is, this is a really good effect. I think that, unfortunately, we're not going to see a whole lot of the Vibranium for this because we see a lot of it in the green and white. So we'd have to have this in a deck that has running green or white in it. But potential, I think this has a lot of potential with that ability. Titania, Rugged Rumbler, not the Titania from Magic, but it looks like she's fighting She-Hulk. 2 and a hybrid black-green for a 5/5 legendary human villain. Additional cost to cast a spell. You discard a card or pay 2. Again, you're able to use your mayhem cost. Ward, discard a card or pay 2. Okay, that's pretty good. You either got to pay 2 or discard a card. Ooh, that's nice. Howling Commandos. This looks like Captain America's forces, maybe. Dum Dum Duggan. 1 and a white, 3/1, legendary human soldier hero. 5 mana, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Soldiers you control gain vigilance until end of turn. Spider Dino, we got this one from the Spider-Man set there. Flatman, okay, and he looks like he's trying to copy off of maybe Mr. Fantastic. 3 and a green for 1/10. Oh my god, this is really, really good in a Toughness Matters deck. Don't need this Origami Fu. Legendary mutant hero. Pay 2 and a green, switch his power and toughness until end of turn. Honestly, just put him into the Abzan or the Arcades type of decks with Toughness Matters, and he's essentially like a 10/10 for 4 mana. Yeah. Take up the shield, 1 and a white for an instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. Okay, so it's one of our scene cards again here. We got Bucky the Winter Soldier, and we got Captain America. Just make them a little bit more powerful, give them lifelink and indestructible, and gain a little bit of life, make sure they don't die. Sure. Planes. Oh, it's this art style that we got the Iron Man one in. I like this one. Sylvia Liu again. I gotta look at their artwork. I'd like to get some of each of their lands. Little guy giving Captain America a little high five. That's really cute. And our first rare is going to be Epic Fight. Wolverine versus the Hulk. Yeah. Lots of regeneration, powerful, attacking people. 2 and a green, sorcery, choose one or both. Double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Target creature you control fights target creature and opponent controls. Okay, so we got this one previously just in one of the artwork Yeah, so it's one of the scene cards there. It's just this time it's with Hulk and Wolverine. So might not be new, but it's good to get other artworks. And Gifted Immortality, unfortunately not the greatest of these, but we'll still take it. 2 and a white, enchantment aura. Enchanted creature dies, return to the battlefield under its owner's control. So it's a little bit of protection. And then you return this to the battlefield, attach to that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So in order to completely get rid of it, they gotta kill the creature twice. And Heroic Feast. Okay, so we got a lot of people there. Miss Marvel, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, The Thing, Wolverine, and Squirrel Girl. It'd be nice to get a Squirrel Girl. 2 and a green, enchantment. When this ETBs, you create a food token whenever you gain a life. Oh, and we've also got like the Wasp there. Whenever you gain life, choose up to that many creatures you control. Put a +1/+1 on each of them. Okay, life gain deck. What one? I think, what was Tidus a life gain deck as well? Because it's like you put this in a life gain deck and you make a whole lot of stuff really powerful. Yeah, like, sure. And then it's like life gain, it's not just gaining life, you're doing this. Sure, yeah, absolutely. We're also going to get Harbinger of the Seas with this Namor art on it. Very nice. Can really go well with the Namor because it's got 2 blue pips. Makes 2 merfolks, and this is a merfolk itself. And it's a 2/2 merfolk wizard with the good ability of non-basic lands are islands, so you cut off, it's the Blood Moon effect on a creature, just making them blue, so if your opponents are playing a whole lot of those, you can really screw them over with that. I kind of want to make a deck with the Namor in it. That's, a merfolk deck with the Namor sounds pretty darn good. Absolutely will take that. And we've got this little minion token here. An attacks, you may mill a card, and a wall from Susan Storm, probably. Okay. And our final card of the pack is going to be Vision Quest. Okay, blue and red, that is my colors there. Scarlet Witch is seeing Vision all broken down and taken apart there, and probably is going to go ballistic because, that's what she did in the WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness for the Doctor Strange. X and a blue-red for a sorcery. Search your library and or graveyard for an artifact card with mana value X or less. Put it on the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. If X is 4 or greater, it gains haste until end of turn. If you search your library this way, shuffle. Okay, so bring any, you have a specific artifact creature that you want on it, bring it out, give it a whole bunch of extra power there. Make it at least 4 so that you can get extra +1s on it. Or it's literally just a search and put on the battlefield. Oh, it's got to be with mana value X or less. So you can't play it for 0 and put it out and like search for something that's like mana value 10 or whatnot there. But yeah, you search for something that's, 4 mana. You pay 6 for this. It comes out with 4 extra 1/1s on it. It gains haste. Bring it back or put it directly on the field. Sure, yeah, that's pretty decent. We'll certainly take that. All right, 3 packs remaining. Rub for luck. Maybe we can get some more cool cards. All right, next up we got Trickster's Stratagem with a little bit of Loki playing some sort of chess. 3 and a blue, sorcery, owner of target creature and opponent controls, puts it into the library second from the top or bottom, then up to 1 target creature you control connive. So, a little bit of removal there in an annoying way. Hulk Smash, 1 and a red for an instant with Teamwork 4. Looks like we got different types of Hulks. We got She-Hulk, Hulk, and then another type. Choose 1. If you cast this using Teamwork, you can choose both instead. Destroy target non-creature artifact. That's always good to get rid of. And target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. Oh, we got this one in the alternate artwork there where it was just like the fist coming through. But yeah, so alternate artworks, we'll certainly take those. Avengers Hanger, gain land in white and blue. Okay. Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, 4 and a white, 2/5. Legendary human hero with lifelink. Whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on 1 or more other heroes you control, you may create a 0/4 colorless wall creature token with defender. Okay, extra creatures by just putting 1/1s on people. Sure, nice defenders. Punishing Punch. Looks like we've got Titania giving She-Hulk a little punch, a couple of muscle mommies. 2 and a green. Instant This spell costs 2 less to cast if there are 2 or more creature cards in your graveyard. Target creature you control deals damage equal to twice its power to target creature an opponent controls. That's pretty good there. Have 2 creatures in your graveyard for 1 green mana. You destroy one thing by dealing double damage to it. Okay. Another copy of Big Score. We always like those, you know, bringing someone into justice. Sure. Wild Pack Squad. I think this was from one of them before the Spider-Man set there. Lightning Bolt just with Thor. So good old classic there. The 1 red. So if you want to play it in a deck that focuses more on heroes, or you like the Thor art, I mean, it looks cool there. I would certainly use it. Another Abomination, Terrifying Titan. We've already gotten this one from the scene cards already, so would be better getting a different one. Get a swamp there of maybe Hawkeye and not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, delving deep into those. That's a really good one there. Purple is my favorite color, so all of that being purple, fantastic, amazing artwork for a swamp. And Hawkeye, Master Marksman, we were just talking about you in the card. Are we going to get a Black Widow in here too? 1 in a red, 2/2, legendary human archer hero with first strike and reach. Trick arrows. Whenever Hawkeye becomes tapped, you may pay 1 up to 3 times. When you do, you may choose up to that many. Net, target creature can't block this turn, so get through a little bit. Explosion, deal 2 damage to target player. Or Boomerang, discard a card, then draw a card. Honestly, not that bad of effects there. It's got first strike, so that's decent. Sure, we'll take it. Not the greatest. Exotic Orchard, 1 tap to add 1 mana of any color an opponent controls can produce. I really, really like the colors on all of this here, so I will absolutely take another copy of these. We've already got a lot from the Commander decks, but sure, we'll take another one. And Ironheart, Clever Champion. So this is like the person that takes up the mantle after Tony Stark in the MCU as another one, I think. 4 and a blue for a 3/4 legendary artifact creature human hero with improvise, so easier to play. Flying, non-creature spells you cast have improvise. That's really good there. That's what we want to see. We dig that, being able to play things. Now, unfortunately, that does not help the vision one, but having all non-creature spells, instant sorceries, artifacts, enchantments, planeswalkers, being able to pay for cheaper, sure, yeah, absolutely. And Light of Promise, a little bit more Captain Marvel here. 2 and a white, enchantment aura, enchanted creature has whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1s on it. So a little bit of that. I was going to say a Johnny's Pride Mate, but that's just a +1/+1 on it whenever you gain life. This is even better. You get it based off of, you get more +1/+1s based off of the life you gain. Absolutely, we'll take that one. And we get this nice artwork of the Black Panther card. Like if we end up getting it, that's a really, really cool one as well. I really dig that. Okay, put those ones off to the side. And our special card, final card of the set, not the set, final card of the pack is going to be an Avengers Disassembled. So it looks like they're destroying them. Looks like someone is ripping apart the Vision. We've got Scarlet Witch that's going crazy. Big explosions. Some of the heroes on the sidelines there. 1 and double red for a sorcery. Choose 1 or both. Avengers Disassembled deals 3 damage to each creature. Or destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Yeah, get rid of a utility land. That's really good. That's always nice. And then 3 damage to each creature. So not quite a board wipe, but it could get rid of a lot of small stuff there. Sure, we'll take that. Alternate art card is nice. Penultimate pack there. Rub for a little bit of luck. Hopefully we get something good. Let's try to get another mythic if we can. Frozen in Ice with Captain America. 2 and a blue. Enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enters when this aura enters, tap the enchanted creature. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and can't become untapped. That is actually really good for a removal on it there. Loses all abilities so they don't get it, and they're tapped so they can't attack or block. A really good way of getting them out. Lightning Strike, so we had Lightning Bolt, now we got Lightning Strike with Thor on it. This time here, down instead of up. Sure. Go Nuts with Squirrel Girl. 1 green for a sorcery with teamwork of 3. Choose 1. If the spell was cast using teamwork, choose both instead. Put a +1/+1 on target creature. Target creature you control fights target creature and opponent controls. Now this is just tapping stuff there, so not the worst thing ever, but there are generally some ones that are better for it, but we'll still take it just in case. Misty Knight, hero for hire. 1 and a red for a 3/1 legendary human detective hero. 2 and tap, discard a card, draw a card for each card you've discarded this turn. That's really good there. We dig those. Definitely could put this in Angie Falconroth if I wanted to get a lot of extra cards there. That would be nice. Swordsman, Sharp Scoundrel, 1 and a black, 2/2 legendary human hero villain. So he's both. He's a hero and a villain. Whenever another villain you control ETBs, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target creature you control. Whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, it connives. Okay, sure. Quantum Reduction, shrinking the MODOK, because Wasp and Ant-Man said so. 1 and a blue, Enchantment Aura, Teamwork 2. You may cast this spell as though it had flash if you've cast it using Teamwork. Enchanted creature gets -5/-0 and loses all abilities. Another good one there, similar to Frozen and Ice. It can still block, can still attack. They can try to get rid of it, but losing all of the abilities is really, really good on it there. I will absolutely take that. Romantic Rendezvous, we saw this one before. Discard a card, draw 2 from Spider-Man. Living Lies of Loki, looking like he makes some copies of himself. 1 and a blue, 1/3 illusion villain. This creature gets +1/+0 for each other illusion you control. When this dies, draw a card. Okay, illusion deck, sure. Red Hulk to go into our scene cards. Sure, we'll absolutely take that. 4 and double red. 6/7 legendary Gamma Berserker villain. Reach and trample and rage. When this is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on him. When you do, he deals damage equal to the number of +1/+1s on him to any other target. That's really, really good there. Figure out a way to get a lot of +1/+1s on him. I mean, Atraxa is in red, I believe. Or is she not? No, she's not in red, so unfortunately she can't do that. Find a way to get a lot of +1/+1s on this and then just get the enrage cost off to just be like nuking people. Sure. Forest in that Sylvia Lou art. This time here we're getting a little bit of She-Hulk on a little excursion there. Very cute. First rare is going to be a mythic there. And again, I think this is from the Jumpstart, so a little bit harder to get, so that's great. Loki, Lord of Misrule. 3 and a blue for a 3/4 legendary god sorcerer villain. Blue and tap, choose target creature you control. Each creature you control other than the chosen creature becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn, except it isn't legendary. Activate only as sorcery. Unfortunately, it's only as a sorcery because I was like, oh, this is great with Biovisionary because you can just, because it's like at the beginning of your turn or beginning of your upkeep there, the Biovisionary checks, but if you can only do it as a sorcery, it's not quite as good. But still, like, making everything be a copy of it until end of turn, something that has really, really good effects. They're all not legendary. Yeah, that's it's a really good card there. A little bit of like, it's kind of like a Sakashima's Imposter that you get each turn by only playing 1 blue and turn everything into it. That's awesome. Oh, and we get a Molecule Man, probably one of the best ones from the Commander decks there, alongside the Phantascar. Molecule Man, 6 colorless, so you can put him anywhere. 5/5 legendary human villain. Non-land cards in your hand have Miracle 0, so it's the first card that you've drawn each turn. You can play it for its Miracle cost being 0. That is so good. Play this in a deck that has a lot of like scry, so you can just be like, oh yeah, put the best thing on top there. That is an awesome one to get in here. Like Phantascar and Molecule Man are going to be like the 2 best ones from the Commander decks that you can get. Oh, thank you for that one there. All right. So we've got like a hard to get Jumpstart card, one of the best rares from the Commander decks. What else are we going to get? And we're getting another mythic. Oh my goodness. So that's our 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this will be 7, but we're close. Oh my god, what a good penultimate pack. Thanos the Mad Titan. Red, white, and black for a 4/4 legendary Eternal villain. Eternal being a new creature type. Okay. Death Touch and Lifelink. Power up. Adding in a colorless. So one of the Infinity Stones is going to be colorless. So colorless, white, blue, black, red, and green to put 2+1/+1s on them. Choose odd or even, destroy each other creature with mana value of the chosen quality. Okay. You know, a little bit of a board wipe there. Interesting. So you could put this into like a like have a void winnower or something where your opponent can't cast even spells, and you know, try to protect him with like blink spells because you've got white and blue in this, because you have to play this in a 5-color deck, and potentially do it where it's like, oh yes, you know, like I've got my void winner out, so you can't play even stuff, and then you play Thanos and you do his thing there of, you know, playing the extra 3. Again, if he's your commander, then, you know, it's like you pay 1 extra after your commander attacks once there. And you're just like, oh yes, you know, I've got the void winnower and I'm going to destroy everything that's odd cost. And then you protect the void winnower. That's so cool. Oh my god, what a pack. What a pack. Oh my goodness, like you want to give us some more good things, because I mean we've got our bonus sheet card, and we've got a final card as well. Bonus sheet card is going to be Extinction Event, and we got Thanos in it. This is such a flavorful pack. 3 and a black for a sorcery, choose odd or even, exile each creature with mana value of the chosen quality. And we've got the snap event there. Oh, it's so cool. It's so flavorful. Oh my god, that's great. That might have looked really, really cool in foil there, but hey, you know, that's another cool one there. Can we finish off? We got 4 really, really cool ones there. Frozen and Ice was good. You know, Lightning Strike, I like the art. Go Nuts is fine. Misty Knight looks pretty good there. Quantum Reduction looks pretty good there. The Red Hulk looks decent. We got a new arts for a land. We got a treasure and a villain. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. You can give us one more really cool card, right? I asked for the Squirrel Girl, and it gave it to us. Oh my goodness, we did it. We did it, we did it, we did it. We called it a second time, and we got cool cards in every single rare portion of this pack. The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, 1 and 3 green for a 4/4 legendary squirrel human hero. Do you like squirrels? Whenever the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl enters or attacks, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. And I love squirrels, 1 and 3 green to create X 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens, where X is the number of squirrels you control. Fantastic. Oh, yes. My friend is a big fan of Squirrel Girl, so I am sure that he will be very jealous of me getting that card. All right, well, we did that one, and it was the penultimate pack. This is the last one here. I mean, unless we get something really, really good, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to top that one, since we got so many cool things in it. All right. We Say the Nay, which has a Doctor Strange on it. Nice. 1 and a blue, instant arcane spell. Okay. We've got, you know, the split onto arcane stuff. If we want to, from Kamigawa. Teamwork 2, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Okay. Counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead if it was cast using Teamwork. So a little bit of a mana drain effect there. Okay, sure, we'll take that. Wakandan Drone Flock, 3 and a white, 3/3 artifact creature robot with flying. ETB Scry 2. Okay. Project Deathlock Soldier, 1 black for a 1/2 artifact creature zombie soldier. 2 and a black, return this from your graveyard to your hand to play it again. Not too bad, pretty good in limited. Thirst for Knowledge, I like these ones. 2 and a blue, instant, draw 3, then discard 2 unless you discard an artifact card. I think it's a really, really good one. Red Guardian, Super Soldier, this is like the Russian Captain America, I think. 2 and a white, 2/2, legendary human soldier villain with flash. When it ETBs, destroy target creature an opponent controls that dealt damage this turn. Okay, so a removal spell on a creature like that with flash, sure. Accelerated Evolution, 2 and a green, enchantment aura with flash, enchant creature you control. When this aura ETBs, the enchanted creature gains hexproof until end of turn, so a little bit of protection. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Okay, not anything super amazing for its thing there, but a little bit of protection. Eerie Graveyard, again with the Spider-Man coming out like we saw in his Reanimate version as well. This is part of that whole Craven's Last Hunt. And Enter, draw a card, sack the artifact to null 4 cards, can put a creature from among them into your hand. Darwin, adaptive mutant, 1 and a green, 2/1 legendary mutant hero with evolve. Okay. Remove 2+1/+1s from him. He gains indestructible until end turn. Not the most amazing. I wish he had a better one because we could have put him into the Tidus deck. Armin Zola, Biofanatic. So this is one of those Hydra guys there in this alternate artwork, which I think we had Lady Hydra here. So it looks like we got another, scene of those ones. 2 and a black, 2/3, legendary artifact creature of scientist villain. 3 and tap, create a tapped 2/1 black villain creature token with menace. Activate only if there are 2 or more creatures in your graveyard. Well, not too shabby, being able to play more. Island in that artwork, and we got Ant-Man and a little ants there. So we've got what? We had the plains with the Captain America. We got the island with the with Ant-Man here. The swamp. I don't know if that one. I won't be able to look at it, but there was the swamp that was the purple one that had the Hawkeye and Black Widow on it. Was that the one also by Sylvia Liu? And then red was the one with Tony Stark, green was She-Hulk. So maybe we got all of them. That would be nice. First rare final pack. Oh, double face Tony Stark. Mythic. So we did get our 8 mythics. Very, very nice. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 legendary human artificer hero with pay 1 and tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal an artifact from among them, put in your hand, the rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order, and you can pay 4, a blue and a red to transform them as a sorcery, or 4 blue and a red to just play him as the invincible Iron Man with that artwork in the background. Very nice. 4, a blue and a red for a 5/5 legendary artifact creature human hero. With flying and haste, beginning of combat on your turn, you may put an artifact from your hand on the battlefield. If it's an equipment, attach it to him. That's pretty darn good. Just beginning of combat, you just get an artifact for free. That's so good there. That is so good. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my god. We got some good ones here. Thanos, Kang, Captain Marvel, Tony Stark, Namor, Bruce Banner there. Oh boy. We also got this Zabu for that guy and Red Wing. So we've got both of those creature companions. Okay, final cards of the pack. Heroic Sacrifice from those ones there. This is that Pariah effect. I think that's pretty good. 1 and a white instant. Choose target creature you control. Until end of turn, all damage that would be dealt to you or and creatures you control is dealt to the chosen creature instead. When that creature dies this turn, put its counters on up to 1 target creature you control and draw a card. Honestly, I think it's a pretty good one for the Commander deck and for our... Nope, this isn't our last one of these, but we got Origin of the Avengers, and look, we got classic Iron Man there. He looked so goofy, and we got Loki. This seems a little bit like that, the Avengers movie. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp there, but, we got the old styles of stuff, which is cool. 1 and a white for a Saga, Enchantment Saga, that when it ETBs, you scry 2. First upkeep, you may put a hero card with mana value 3 or less from your hand on the battlefield. If you don't, draw a card. And on the second upkeep, before you sacrifice this, you put a +1/+1 on each creature you control. So, a little bit of a, just pump up a wide board. So good for a go wide board. And our final card from the bonus sheets is going to be Heroic Intervention. Okay, not a bad one there. Now this one did show up, I think, in some other bonus sheets, but we'll absolutely take more Heroic Interventions. It's probably going to lower the price of the card, making it a lot easier. And again, we got it in the same one that we got Origins of the Avengers, so it's like another flavorful one. Did they intentionally do that? Because again, it's like the old styles of them and has the 5 of them there, and Loki. It's like, I like it that it's so flavorful there. All right, final card of the final pack. We got our 8 mythics already, so probably not the Mind Stone. Maybe it'll be in our second box. Who knows? But this one is going to be, Storm Windrider. That one looks cool as well. Look at her there. Very, very beautiful. 1, a green and double white for a 4/4 legendary mutant hero with flying. Creatures with flying can't attack you or block creatures you control. Okay, very nice. Whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more creatures, those creatures gain flying until end of turn. Not the most amazing one, but hey, put it into a your opponent can't use flying to get over stuff that you have or block creatures that you have. So unless they have reach, you're just like, oh yeah, my flying creatures can go in and attack. Sure. All right. Well, very, very nice there. No other mythics in it, but hey, got some good ones there. We got Show and Tell twice, which is interesting. We called the Wolverine Best There Is. And, decent ones here. I think Monstrous Rage is probably the least one there. Harbinger of the Seas, like I said, going to be good with Namor. And two ones that went in very thematically with other things that were in the packs there. I don't think that we really had anything else that was like that. We got our Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which we called as well. We got Storm and some cool sagas. Ironheart looks really, really good there. Nick Fury, Winter Soldier looks good. I'd like to get more of these lands. We only got one of them. Absorbing Man looked also pretty darn good as well. Fing Fang Foom, I'd like to make a land destruction deck. Molecule Man, another copy of him is really good. Heroic Sacrifice as a pariah is interesting as well. We got a foil one from one of the Jumpstart boosters. Another Quicksilver I really enjoyed. All right. A few of them there from the Jumpstarts, but we also got two hard ones to get. Like, I think some of the best ones from the Jumpstart boosters, which is really nice because I don't have those yet. And we got 6 other mythics here, as we saw before. Kang, Thanos, Captain Marvel, all of these ones with these power-up abilities that I think could prove really well. We got this Tony Stark, which, like, the backside is really good, just letting you play free artifacts there. Namor, which is going to be a great kindred tribal merfolk card there, and Bruce Banner, which I think is one of like the special artworks that you can get of these. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We did so well in this. So I hope that you have luck with whatever it is that you are working on, because you should get this sort of luck too. So thanks for joining me on this one. I hope that you have a nice afternoon, evening, or night. Until you do come back for another one, please take care of yourself, and I'll see you on that next one.